Florida Congressman Byron Donalds appears to have gotten the endorsement of Donald Trump for Florida's governor, for the Florida governor race. So the race is over, folks. Pack it up. All the other candidates. Now, Donalds has not officially declared. He will declare, as he said on social media, as he accepted Trump's endorsement. And this is the story that came out a few hours ago. President Trump brought in early in Thursday to speculation around his favorite for the 2026 Florida governor's race in a post on Truth Social, endorsing loyalist Representative Byron Donalds. This is out of the Political article. I love how they use the words like loyalist and, they do that that's a jab. That they're real slick with it. President's backing of Donalds is likely to have a chilling effect on the race in Florida, a state Trump won by 13 points in November, and that he has called home since 2019. Trump, over Truth Social, urged Donalds to run and called him a highly respected congressman and a total winner who've been tested at the highest and most difficult levels. Right? The most difficult levels. Yeah, about that. Trump made his choice for governor clear far before any candidates, including Donalds himself, could even declare or had any intentions of running. The announcement also came as speculation had reached a fever pitch about whether Governor Ron DeSantis' wife, Casey DeSantis, would run for her husband's job as the governor. And she was talking about doing that. That was always the rumor that she would run or take his spot for governor after Ron leaves. So, one Ron DeSantis donor text Politico saying, "Looks like that's that." So I guess they decided that Trump made the decision. It's Trump's choice. I guess that's what he's implying. Donalds responded to Trump's endorsement about an hour later on his own social media posts that suggested that he is planning on jumping into the race very soon. Donald said that, quote, President Trump is making America great again. I'm committed to working with him to keep Florida great. Announcement coming soon, end quote. So that's that. The post by Trump may not only end speculation about Casey DeSantis, but it could also lead Wilton Simpson, the state's agriculture commissioner, to bypass the governor's race and seek a second term instead. He has already raised millions for his political committees that he could have used in that race. That's a big boost for Byron, said former Representative Matt Gaetz in a text message. Gaetz had been mulling his own bid for governor after his short-lived bid to become Attorney General for Donald Trump, and you know how that ended. It didn't go anywhere. Trump gave a clue about his feelings on the governor's race earlier this week by posting a poll that showed Donalds in the lead of possible candidates. The poll did not assess how well the congressman fared against Casey DeSantis, but another one from the University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab found her favorables were twice as high as his. So that's interesting because Casey DeSantis, who is obviously the wife of Ron DeSantis, who is loved in Florida, right? And if Casey had higher favorables, who knows if Casey would get the edge over Donalds in a head-to-head, like if they was in a primary. It's interesting because I don't know if Byron Donalds is yeah, he'll get Trump's endorsement, but is it really a guarantee that if Casey didn't run anyway, that she would not beat him because she's been down in Florida. She's the first lady, first governor. I know Donalds is respected. Trump's endorsement does hold weight, especially probably more now than ever, considering he's the president, right? Like I think if Trump was not president and this is like an off year, maybe that endorsement doesn't hold as much weight. It'll still hold weight, obviously, for Donalds, but maybe it wouldn't have that as much. But I think it's pretty. I think Trump right now, at least amongst the Republican base, that endorsement holds major weight. It may hold just enough weight to keep anybody else from even trying to run. Right? That's how big that's how much weight Trump is holding right now. Like he's at his high. He's at an all-time high. And I would. So it's going to be interesting to see, dude. But the question is going to be, and if Ron DeSantis donor sent that text out, because I have to assume that Ron DeSantis donor would likely support Casey DeSantis if she was to run. And if he sent that text out to the political saying, "Hey, it looks like that's that," I don't know if that was more like a sarcastic "that's that," like, "Oh, look at this guy who just decides who can run, who's it, and that's that," or is he saying that's that, like, I guess no one else should jump in? Because people may be scared. Let's face it, Republicans may be scared. Now the Democrat, they're gonna run who they're gonna run. You know, whether it be Nikki Fried, will she run again? I don't know. She got smoked last time pretty badly, or anyone else. But I don't know. I mean, I think is this enough to scare off anybody to even consider running? And what happens months from now? Because that race takes off when Trump's favorables or approval starts to drop. Because at some point it will drop. Will that endorsement hold as much weight, right? And then will people say, "Okay, I'm gonna jump in," right? So the timing is pretty interesting, and I feel like Trump is forcing this out now to try to push his weight around. Now, obviously, the governor's race is scheduled for 2026, so it's still very early in the process. A lot can happen between now and 2026. November 2026, you have 36 states and 3 territories are having governor's elections. And so it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this year plays out. Now, Byron is going to be the favorite, of course, because of Trump's endorsement early on. But will he remain a favorite? And like I said, it could go good, or if others jump in the race, it can go bad. Because if, like I said, that Trump, if say later on in the year or by next year, Trump's approvals dip or his favorability starts to dip because of all the stuff that's going on, and people start to say, you know what, screw that. That endorsement for Donalds may not look as good, especially if people are like, okay, we don't want what's happening now. We want to go in a different direction, right? Because we know that Trump endorsed candidates don't always win. I know people like to be out there think, oh, Trump is undefeated, like he has this streak. No, Kerry Lakes lost a couple of races with Trump's endorsement, a few other candidates, and especially many candidates that may not have that may be Trump backers or hardcore Trumpers. They can't get the people in the states to show out for them. Now, Florida's a special situation because that's Trump's home, but DeSantis has a base down there. Will DeSantis base support Casey? It's one thing for the national stage for the people nationally be like, okay, we're going to back Trump over DeSantis in a primary for president. But in the state of Florida, I have to think that if Casey jumps in, she's definitely going to get a big boost. The current governor, which is Ron, and everybody in the state is probably going to back her over Donalds. I have to believe that, at least as of right now. Now, I don't know much about Casey DeSantis or what she can do. But it seems like Donalds is the favorite right now. But who knows? When they start digging up your past and they pull up all the stuff, we'll see who's clean and who's not. Because Byron Donalds has a past, and they'll be digging in Florida for sure. They'll be digging, and especially if he somehow makes out the primary. Has there ever? I know. Has there ever been a black Republican governor? It has been no black Republican governor. I don't know, maybe in the 1800s sometime. But I mean, can he? We cannot ignore race. I know people hate to mention race, but race is important in politics, especially when you talk about statewide races, demographic wise. Will enough white Republicans be comfortable voting for Byron Donalds over a Casey DeSantis or any other white Republican that runs from Florida that's well known in Florida? That's something you have to consider as well. I mean, I don't know if that's even guaranteed. I mean, we haven't seen a black Republican really win a statewide race yet, have we? I'm not sure we have. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments. But yeah, it's one thing to win districts in states, right? But as a black Republican, won a statewide race. I mean, they barely won statewide. A few of them win statewide races as Democrats, right? I mean, I think we have a couple senators now, and a few handful of senators in the Democrat side. You have a couple governors now, but mostly it's just like mayors or representatives. And I mean, I don't really see many statewide, especially on the Republican side. I mean, I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I know Tim Scott. Okay, Tim Scott won a statewide race as a black Republican in South Carolina. But so Tim Scott is one. If you want to call, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of right now is Tim Scott for statewide. I mean, it's probably a few others. I'm just not thinking of it. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we can't ignore that factor. I mean, it's a fact of life in politics, right? You just have to acknowledge that. You gotta consider that. That's going to play some factor. Regardless of how you think about Byron Donalds, you can think he's a great guy, he's a good guy, he's perfect, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they all said that. They say that about everybody, right? But we've seen that it doesn't always work out that way. People lose. I'm not saying he would lose because he's black. I'm just saying that, you know, when something has not happened, it's going to be a tall hill battle. And I think Vivek is running. He's not black, but he's Indian. He's running for Ohio governorship. So it's going to be a real turn if the GOP pulls this off, right? Like this, like if they can build on this momentum of really clearing that stench of like the racist party or the party of Nazis, it would be real hard to keep planting that picture when if Vivek Ramaswamy became the governor of Ohio and Byron Donalds became the governor of Florida, right? That would really put a dent in a lot of that type of talk that couldn't be mainstream. Like, yeah, you could paint that on individuals, but you couldn't make that a mainstream of a political party. That would be a bit of a that would be a change in the direction that you would have to give Donald Trump credit for, despite the fact that you may believe that Donald Trump is a racist or is a supporter of certain hate groups. But he will also get credit if Vivek Ramaswamy was to become governor of Ohio and Byron Donalds would become governor of Florida. He would get credit for that. And while now, of course, the black community would tell you that all skinfolk and kinfolk in regards to Byron Donalds and other black conservatives or Republicans, because of the way they speak about black people and on black issues in a more of a negative tone, or in a way of, not acknowledging that the history or the issues systemically, right? They would acknowledge that would make them, not like us, and right? That's how many in the black community would put it. But it will still be a victory lap for the Republicans. They would gladly take that victory of those two guys getting elected to governorships, especially considering that it wouldn't have. I don't even think. I'm pretty sure there has never been a Republican black governor. So that would be a victory lap that Donald Trump would gladly take, even if he doesn't even mean it. He would take it, even if his advisors don't even care. I mean, you think Stephen Miller gives a shit? Stephen Miller would probably hope that a white guy, a skinhead, can win, but obviously that's not going to happen. But Trump would take the victory. And same thing with Vivek, who couldn't get elected on a presidential level, as Aunt Coulter put it. I love your policies, I love everything you stand for, but you're Indian. So like, yeah, you guys can run for governor, you could be senators, you could be representatives, but you can't be president. You just can't be president. That's just not. We're not going to stand for that, right? That's pretty much what they tell them, and they tell them to their face, so you know where you stand with them. You know where you stand. Like, we like you. You say everything we like. You say everything the way we want you to say it, but we're just not going to make you president. And we're going to find out if they're going to make them governors. Will that be enough? Is the governor spot good enough for Byron Donalds to get, even with a Trump endorsement? We'll see. We will see. But the polls have, a couple polls coming out down in Florida, that Casey DeSantis, the first lady, is the favorite. So we'll see if that favorite remains after Trump's endorsement, because they'll do a poll. Somehow after tonight, when Trump put that endorsement out, they somehow going to run a poll by tomorrow morning. They're going to have a brand new poll that's going to say something different. Somehow they come up with it. It's almost like maybe they ran like 20,000 polls, and they ask people, hey, what do you think about this, this, and that? And then they put out the one that's more relevant. So then when new information comes in, they can just revert back to the old information and say, oh, we have a poll we did here 2 weeks ago asking if Donalds was in, if he would be the favorite. So they'll make up polls. Tomorrow they'll make up a poll and say that Donalds is the favorite again, right? Even though Casey was the favorite a day ago. So you know how those polls go. They just like to say whatever. A lot of times those polls are full of shit. But anyway. Yeah. So let me know what you think. If you're down in Florida, I want your honest opinion from the Floridians about Byron Donalds. Do you think Byron Donalds would make a good governor? I want to hear from everybody. I want to know, how do you feel about Byron Donalds, Governor Byron Donalds, as governor of Florida? I want to hear from left, right. If you're a Democrat in Florida, who's your pick for governor of Florida? Who you think could beat Donalds? Who you think could beat Casey DeSantis? Because it's not going to be easy. Because Florida is a pretty stronghold, right? Right now, Republicans, they hold on to the state. So it's likely that a Republican more likely will win the governorship, unless something drastic happens between now and next year, where Donald Trump fucks it up somehow, that he completely turns off a bunch of Republicans who say, hey, you know what, fuck this, or independents. I don't know. Yeah, I know the hardcore MAGAs would be like, oh no, we're with Trump till he dies, and we're going to die for Trump, and we're going to jump in front of a bullet. I get it. It's a cult. I get it. But, no, but all jokes aside, though, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think about this governorship. Donald's in the race. Trump's endorsing him. And who you think is going to win. let me know.